Hi everyone, I'm Ronan and Jane. Welcome to the Syndicate, a Star Wars podcast. I have the fortune of inviting my friend JKing to discuss the newest chapter in the Book of Boba Fett. JKing, thanks for joining, man.
Thanks for having me.
Spoilers is upon us, folks. If you haven't seen the episode or the series, please, I implore you, go watch them and then come back and hear our discussion because there's a lot of lore and a lot of stuff that is resolved and brought up and pushed forward in this episode. Return of the Mandalorian, and it's directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who I'm gonna go off right now, off on the bat, and say this. Yes, the episode is 99% Mandalorian and his TV show. Now, is that a detriment to this show? From the looks of it, from my personal feelings, from the internet's social feelings, I don't think so. If anything, this was a cool boost up from what we've gotten. If you liked a lot of what we've gotten so far, you're gonna dig this if you've seen the past two shows. If you have not liked what you've seen so far, this is a fresh feel and vibe, and it should draw more interest into what these shows and future shows will be doing onwards. I personally dug this episode. I think that it answered a lot of questions that was left from season 2 of Mandalorian. It brought up lore stuff via flashbacks and also some stuff that we were at debates back and forth, and also lead stuff onward where it's like, where is this gonna go and how does this connect to other stuff? If you folks haven't seen it, I recommend go see my reaction on the channel. I freaked the F out, and that's on my take on my first impressions. But JKing, what did you think of the episode?
The episode of the Book of Boba slash Mando 2.5. I mean, come on, it was pretty much all Mandalorian until like the last couple minutes. But outside of that, like I really did enjoy this episode. I was wondering, like, because of course, at the end of the last episode, when they played the Mandalorian theme, we all had a feeling that Din Djarin was going to come back, but we didn't know
Mm-hmm.
to what capacity he was going to come
Yeah.
back in this episode. Was it going to be a quick, here is where he is, and then like Boba or Fennec picks him up and like brings him into the whole fold, or are we going to see what he's been doing since the end of the last season? Because again, end of last season. Luke took Grogu to go train him. He lost the
Yep.
Razor Crest, and also had his helmet taken off. And now, like, a few people have seen what he looks like, and of course, that gets discussed within this episode. Like, what that means. Like, he's technically lost his rank now, and now it's like, what's he gonna do?
Right.
There's only technically, as far as we know, of the guild of the part that he of the Mandalorian tribe that he's a part of. Three of them left, and now he's basically taken off the table.
Yeah.
He's taken off the table. So it's like, what's going to be the future of the Mandalorians going forward now? Now that he's no longer technically a part of them, and what's he going to do with that now? Is he going to like join the ranks of like Bo-Katan's crew or something like that? Like, what's exactly is he going to do now? This episode basically gave us, you know, back to the bounty hunting that he was pre Grogu.
Yeah.
Um, and I was excited to see it. I was definitely excited to see him continuing to wield the dark saber. And I mean, as we definitely see, it's a heavy sword to feel because he's still dealing with like basically his child is gone, like
Right.
not dead but gone. Like he has all that still in his head. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to see where that all goes.
I concur. I think the opening scene felt like a moment from John Wick or the original Old Boy. Just from the setting, the mood, the lighting, I dug it. Where it's he comes to negotiate. Hey, you're wanted. Let's get this over with. In with the perfect line, I could bring you in warm or I could bring you in cold. He pops up the dark saber, injures himself, but he cuts. I freaked. I found a lot of other guys and gals who are on YouTube who were like, he just sliced the guy in half. He sliced the guy in half, and then for 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 extra points, he cut the guy's heads off and put in a bag. And I was just like, Disney Plus, you are stretching your range. You are stretching your range. It was a Cartoonian, the creature thing. I effing dug that. But then we make our way towards this ring section. I know a lot of people were throwing out the Halo joke. I was like, is this Halo? I love it. I got some Interstellar vibes through it, and
Mhm.
for aficionados, cinephiles, I don't know if you caught it, but there was a beautiful Warner for a few seconds, and I was just like, oh, it's just so glorious. Please do more of this. We find out that after putting back the bounty, that he makes his way and he finds the covert has shifted. The children of the Watch have shifted to this area, and we see the armorer, who is played by the amazing Emily Swallow, and we see Paz Vizsla, who was the guy who had a rivalry with him and then got his back at the ending of the Sin episode, which was directed by Deborah Chow,
Mm-hmm.
and which leads. That's the big part where I was just like chewing everything that they were saying about, like, you know what this dark saber means, and how Bo-Katan is a cautionary tale, that she was given dark saber and was not didn't fight for it, and those who fight for it and earn it say that they could lead Mandalore back to its full glory and could kill a lot of people, but those who haven't earned it will be cursed upon, which makes sense because, again, for spoilers, for Rebels fans, that was a big thing that I had no issue with because I didn't know about the lore at that point. And when Sabine Wren hands her dark saber and she goes on, we're like, well, what happened with Mandalore? I thought she was gonna lead them, and then it finds its way to the Mandalorian Filoni Favreau verse. I was just like, oh, this is tying up some not loose ends, but just some arc and context that we've been wanting, and also teasing that, like, this is full on Excalibur, this saber, like it's another Jedi weapon thing, but its significance is more. It's not about the brute force; it's about what it symbolizes, like a samurai's katana, which then leads to Paz Vizsla. Well, before that, they hint at, like, so that you see, I noticed you got that spear as well. He's like, yeah, a Jedi gave me that. Yeah, we should melt that because that shouldn't be used. Beskar shouldn't be used as a weapon. It should be as an armor. Who you want to give it to? For a foundling? Okay, for a foundling. He's like, specifically for Grogu. He's like, wait a minute, I thought you gave him back. I'm like, I know, but I miss him. I'm gonna go check up on him, which I'm hoping we see him again pretty soon. Um, which I freaked out. And even when I don't know if you caught this, but when the armor ties up the thing, which we didn't see what it was, the little
Yeah, but the
folded
pouch
thing,
looks like Grogu. Yeah, I noticed
Grogu,
that.
which I was just like, to the prop department, good on you for doing that. And which leads to the big training montage, which I love, about don't fight the saber. In its sort of way, it's not the anti-force combat training. It's similar. It's more about, like, it's supposed to be one on one. That your brute force, your muscle, you're here, you're strong, but you're also mixed on the top part of, like, clans, what the mask taking off means to you, what your son, adopted son, means to you, which then leads possibility to be like, well, if you're not fit to it, let me try it. It's part of my house lineage, which he throws it back. Yeah, but I won. I beat it. I fought for it, so I got it now. And they fight and they duke it out, and I loved it. And even without the saber, Mando Din Djarin proves that, like, he's worthy, and he knows how to fight a guy who's taller than him, and which leads to Armor saying, "Both of you, have you taken off your helmets? Has it been ever removed?" Pa says, "Nope, never." And I love that there were seconds where Din didn't want to answer it, and it was Armor insisting, by creed you have to vow. Have you? Have you not? And he says, "I have." And she says, "You're gone." Which I was so it was so such a sad moment for me, and yet I understood it because of this covert's beliefs, and yet I hope that, for me, and I don't know about you, I would love to hear your take on it, that he's gonna be the one who's gonna fuse the past, present, and future onwards. Where it's like, yes, I do believe in loyalty and solidarity, but if it means saving someone significant to one another, we should be able to do this off. And it's gonna be that beautiful gen or a mix of past, present, and future. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely got that feeling that's like the old ways that these type of Mandalorians have had to deal with are definitely holding them back. Like as they brought up, I remember like Mando bringing up how the Jedi are like, you need to let go of all compassion and all that, but the Mandalorians are like, no, we need to, at least his Mandalorian tribe are like, we're about, like loyalty and unity and things like that. But then the minute he's like, oh, yeah, I did take off my helmet, she's like, well, you're a Mandalorian no more. Get the fuck out of here. Which broke my heart because I'm like, yo, like, what were you expecting him to do? Because, like,
Yeah.
first season, again, non living being, but he would have died if he didn't take it off. The second time, it was the only way for no one to be suspicious of him and, to get where Grogu was. It was the only way in order for him to get there and then defeat Moff Gideon. There's nothing else he could have done there. Third time, yeah, okay, he wanted his child to see his face before he left in case that would be the last time. So, okay, maybe that time. But again, outside of that, the other two times, he literally had no choice. I mean, put them in the same position. Though I feel like you put them in the same position, they would have been like, nope, I'm gonna just die. I'm gonna just die. But yeah, I definitely feel like season 3, if anything, or I remember they said that, this show, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, like this is all gonna lead to something big. Like
Yes,
maybe in the midst of that big thing, or maybe in Mando season 3, it's the end of the old ways, but the beginning of something new for the history of the Mandalorians. Because again, there's
right.
not that many of them left. There's, Mando, the tribe that just kicked him out, Bo-Katan's crew, Sabine, who will be in Ahsoka. There's not that many of them left. Oh, and Sabine's family. There's also Sabine's family. I'm remembering that
Clan
from
Ren.
Rebels. Yeah,
Yeah.
Clan Ren. But again, like still, there's not that many of them left. So it's like y'all holding on to these old ideals are going to be your downfall if you don't realize what needs to stay, but what needs to go in order for a better future for Mandalore to come about.
I agree. I you said it best. That's my whole thing about after Mando season 2 and the beginning of Book of Boba Fett is that all these shows are gonna connect in some way and lead to this big. I mean, I think Kathleen Kennedy said it at one time, where they're all gonna lead to one epic event. And I
Mhm.
feel like it's gonna be, the a Braveheart moment where it's like, all right, everybody from all corners who are friends with Din Djarin and these crew are gonna band together and they're gonna go for Mandalore, for the home world. And in their way, it's either Moff Gideon, Thrawn, or something else and whatnot. Which I mean, that's again, this is what was so cool about exposition between people who are wearing helmets. We didn't have to see their faces.
Face.
Like,
Right.
that's I was just, like, so blown by that thing that I'm like, "I hope I can do that one I hope I can achieve that amazing talent one day," which I mean, even in that mist, and I have to throw it out there that I felt that the flashback with, Concordia and the Night of a Thousand Tears with the K2
Oh,
droids
oh.
was full on T2, man. That was, like, the minute I saw those 2 shots, I'm like, "This is a James Cameron movie? What the hell? Like, this feels like the opening of Judgment Day. Like,
Right?
what the
Like
hell?"
that looked well to like very, very well done. That whole sequence, just the quick shot of the moon and then the destruction of the Empire as they destroy all that's left at that moment in time for Mandalore. That was like that was just eye candy right there. That was just eye candy.
And that shot of like the mushroom explosion, it felt like Nagasaki or
Mhm,
those old footage you've seen of World War II where they bombed Japan and whatnot, which it's brutal and just tragic. And I was just like, wow, that iconography
mhm.
was just used well. And we head back. He's on a Greyhound now, or at least a Star Wars Greyhound, where it's like Mando's like, all right, I got no ship, I got no clan. Somebody from my past hit me up on the DMs, was like, hey, I got a ship for you. Come to Tatooine. It's like, all right.
Mhm.
And there's this beautiful moment in it that I think these were two of my favorite moments, was when Mando sees the Rhodian kid looking back at him and waves at him, and he just
Yeah.
says nothing, but you could tell he misses Grogu on his side, just looking at the stars.
Mhm.
And he makes his way back to Tatooine. We first see the BD droid, which I almost
BD, oh my god, like
shitted bricks because I'm like, Cal Kestis, this is Jedi Fallen Order?
right,
What is
I was thinking
happening?
Fallen Order, like, immediately when I saw BD1, I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
gosh."
Yeah. And then we see Pelimoto played by Amy Sedaris, which I gotta admit, the character is growing on me. Yes, there are some bits
Yeah.
about like I ceased to date or sleep with the Jawa. I forgot the line.
I don't know how
And
you do that, but okay.
yeah, or some of that notion. And then I was just like, this character is growing me. Yeah, there's some funny bits. I'm like, it's part of Star Wars. There's some wacky hijinks about it, but I loved it. And her seeing Mando again, be like, oh, what an entrance! I'm like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I messaged you. Oh yeah, I got you a ship, which then leads to the N1 Starfighter. Which at first I'm like, is this a pod race? I'm
I
like,
was
wait
e
a minute.
everyone was thinking that. It's like, did this girl give him a pod racer? You expect
Yeah,
her to fly a pod racer through space? But no, no, it was a lot better. regarding that ship, once it was all put together, that looked really good, and how it
Yes.
works was really good as well. I don't know if Mando will stick to that the entire time. Like, I have a feeling like he may potentially, if not another Razor Crest, like maybe a different type of ship, but it might be like Rebels, where it's like they have that detachable ship.
Yes.
That might become that. Like he'll definitely still be using that ship, but I don't know if that's going to be his main ship, especially since of course like if he does get Grogu or say like missions like how in season 2 went, you're not going to need that skinny ass ship. That's not going to take more than one person or more than
No.
one person in a droid.
I think you said it best. Where if I don't think he'll ever sell it. If anything, he'll upgrade probably to another Razor Crest S ship. And my thought, it's what Bo was doing with the weapons in her episode of the I forgot the name of the episode, but from season 2, where she's collecting these weapons for an assault on Mandalore to take it back. I feel like if anything, if he gets an upgrade, this ship will be saved somewhere, and it'll be used like, all right, we have now one solo starfighter ship where somebody one of us can use it while we go attack this. And I mean, as soon as she was pulling the cover of it, I was just like, oh, that's a Naboo fighter. That's a Naboo fighter. And then the monster of them building it together was such a bonding thing. Which, again, that from season 1 onwards is building upon it. And that little moment with BD scanning the thing, he's like, "Where does this belong?" Shows it. He's like,
That
"Ah,
was so
thanks,
much
thanks,
Fallen
little
Order.
guy."
That was so
Yeah,
much
man.
Fallen Order. Like, where does this go? Or where did this lead? Like that was so much
Yes.
Fallen Order right there.
And to see where he's come from, the arc of his back then, he hated droids. He hated droids,
Hmm.
and now he's like, "Thanks, little guy." Oh, that moment got me. And they fire it up. It's sounding like an old Mustang, like an old Camaro or
Uh-huh.
Corvette. They light it up. It's going good, and he's like, "All right, let me push it a little bit," and he fucking dips in. And I was just like, this felt like first time I saw Iron Man flying in the first Iron Man movie. I was just like, this is a
Yeah,
ride.
yeah, I could definitely agree with that. Like that definitely was like just like a chill experience. Like you know how like when you get a new car, like you want to immediately take it out for a test drive, and it's like it's just you and open road. That's it. Like you make sure that you're not gonna like crash into
Yeah,
anything, but like you're like it's just you and open road, or for them open air space,
yeah.
basically.
And the fact that, I mean, as someone who's watched these movies over and over again, I know about Baker's Canyon. That's part of the lore.
Mhm.
And when they threw them, like, oh, I want to go to Baker's Canyon, and you see the shots that are like, that's the shot from Phantom Menace when Anakin goes up the railing mountain and whatnot. And oh, I love it. And it goes back to that kid of the Rhodian kid who's in the Star Wars Greyhound, I call it, the commercial ship, where he just sees a little kid and like salutes him and says, like, look at that beautiful moment. But then he gets pulled over. That leads to the one of the fighters who recognizes his voice, and
Mhm.
he knows. He's like, you used to fly a Razor Crest, didn't you? And that's another thing that I'm gonna put out right now that I love that these shows are doing in the background, where it's like there's these incidents that involve Imperial remnants
Mhm.
out here in the unknown regions or in the Outer Rim. Something is up and nobody wants to talk about it. And you see this one guy who I think is the guy who's going to play Uncle Iroh on the Avatar show. And be like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to connect the dots, which I hope that plays an element throughout all these shows of like somewhere out there, because it's in the books. It's part of canon, at least from the literature perspective, that
Mhm.
Imperial remnants that survived the war are out in the unknown regions and they're building up again for First Order. They're building up the First Order again. And
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised this whole event thing of Mando is sort of the first wave of the First Order, where they try to first take the galaxy again, but then a bunch of ragtag Mandalorians and like rebels and whatnot stop them, and they don't have to wait till like another 15, 30 years to then hit again with Kylo Ren and the band. But then he makes his way back. That's my spiel about that. But then he makes his way back, and she's like, "How was it, Wizard?" Which, at first, I thought it was just it's the Star Wars way of saying "wicked," which is a low Boston thing. But then I
Mhm.
believe I heard it's a Robot Chicken reference where they use that as a Star Wars bit in Robot Chicken. Which I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Vader's
All
like
right.
wizard,
Mhm.
which then it ties up to people being like, "Who's Boba Fett?" Fennec Shan is looking for him. She's
Yeah.
like, you want a job? You looking for money? She's like, it depends. He's like, it pays a lot of money. How much? Well, for what bounty? He's like, no bounty, just muscle. He's like, Boba Fett. He would appreciate it. Cool, slick dude. Dinjarin just like, it's on the house. I
Right.
got you guys. But
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go see a little guy first. I'm gonna flip out if they show him and Luke just chilling with Ben Solo and Han and Leia are in the background, watching them do in the daycare visit. I'm like, that guy looks like Boba Fett. It's like, no, he's a cool dude. He's a cool dude. Um, I freaked the f out with that connection, which means,
Yeah,
does that
th-
mean,
that 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 would be really crazy. I see
yeah,
that.
man,
I see that as maybe next episode, like he just like comes back from the trip, but maybe like the post credits of like the finale, we see like him visiting, like he's just walking up, like he maybe even has his helmet off, since again, not technically a Mandalorian anymore, and we just see like Luke. He's like, looks like you have a visitor. And like Grogu just like looks at him, and we finally see, and we like maybe then finally see what's in that package. I definitely see
yeah,
that as like a finale kind of thing leading into Mando season 3.
that would be cool. That would be cool to do as an end credit scene. And it's like, oh, they reunited, and then this is a thing of like, just out of curiosity, have you seen Imperial remnants popping up? It's like, no, why? It's like, because I have. He's like, I'll look into it. Thank you, my friend. And you see Luke also doing this where he's investigating stuff because him and Lando were also doing stuff. It wasn't just
Right,
that
right.
Luke was building up a new order. Him and Lando were like looking for all artifacts and whatnot, which, oh man, the possibilities.
I mean, there's already a lot of possibilities with what they could be doing within these shows. I mean, remember last season where we got the hint of where they could be creating, like, the clone Palpatine? Like, there's
Yeah,
still that's unanswered. I mean, the facility got wrecked, but I mean, there's still that. So who knows? Like, again, who knows what the big, like, not of this season, but like of this overall arc in this Disney Plus Star Wars universe that they're trying to do, like what it's all leading to. We have no idea. I mean, again, we don't know how Boba's gonna end. I mean, we still got a lot that's going on there with the pipes,
and the
with
families.
BK,
Yeah,
with the twins. Like, I know they ain't gonna just let that just like slide by. Like, they're obviously gonna have to address that again, like the twins of Jabba. And again, like how this will all end up. Like, will Boba basically sit on that throne at the end as the godfather of Tatooine, or
yeah.
like is something else gonna happen to him in the end? Like, I don't think they're gonna kill him, obviously, but it's like something definitely big is going to happen to like lead into not only Mando season 3, but like the majority of the Star Wars Disney Plus arc that they're trying to do, this middle ground in between the original trilogy and sequel trilogy.
I hope so, man. I hope so. JKing, tell me, what was your favorite moment of this episode?
My gosh, that's hard to pin down. Okay, top two favorite moments have to be Mando fighting all those guys in the beginning scene with the dark saber. Even though he was messing up, that was still crazy to see him butcher people in the butcher house. And
Yeah,
then the second one has to be taking the new ship out for a test flight. Like, that was just great, especially with like these are kind of like surround sound. So it's like I heard everything when that all went down. And that was like a trip in its own. Yeah,
right
so yeah,
on.
that's been like my two favorite moments. But again, like it's hard to pin down because like this episode was really good. Um, you know, I've heard a lot of people say like, that this is the best episode and it's got basically no boba. I've heard a lot of people
That's my
bring
take
that
on it.
up.
That's my take on
But
it. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
love the sanctuary stuff and whatnot. I love the mafia vibes. I love the dancing with wolves, last samurai vibes with the Tuscans. But this one was from beginning to end. I was in it, in it.
mhm.
That'll be the conclusion for this episode, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. But before we go, JKing, where can people find you?
All right, IG JKing_ZIO. That's the main place where you guys can, find me.
Right on. Folks, if you like this video, this discussion, subscribe to the channel, grow it out more, and till next time, this is the way.